Good afternoon to you. Now we will continue with CCSA rules, which is meant for section officers and private secretaries and non-participating agencies like AFHQ, IB, and what is known as railways and external affairs. We have seen in the CCSA rules up to rule 11, that is, what are the penalties. For good and sufficient reasons, the following penalties can be imposed. We have seen all the penalties, both minor and major. We have also seen what will not amount to a penalty. There are certain so-called penalties which have the consequences of a penalty, but strictly they are not penalties. We have seen almost all. Today we are seeing certain government of India's decision under Rule 11. Many decisions have been conveyed by Government of India with reference to the penalties. A few Government of India decisions we will see, which are important from academic point of view as well as from examination point of view. First is, if a government servant has committed a misconduct before his employment in the central government, and if such a misconduct has rational connection with the present employment, action should be taken. So a government servant has been appointed in central government, and after appointment, there are many occasions. There are two occasions specially. I will give an example. Let us say the person was, before appointment into the central government, the fellow was working in a cooperative society. In that cooperative society, he was cashier, and he was removed from the society for misappropriation. Just removed them. They did not dismiss, etc. They said they discharged. In their record, there is a mention about his misuse of money, misappropriation of money. As a result, he was removed. Now, this comes to light after his appointment. Now, the question is whether he can be removed. Yes, he should be removed. I give another example. In the same cooperative society, he has certain altercation with his colleague, and the people said, you go. Cooperative society management said, please go, we don't want your services. So he had come back. See, there are two instances. One, where it shows the lack of integrity. Other is not related to integrity. So, with an incident which has the impact of moral turpitude, you have to take action. Altercation with the colleague, it has no nexus between the official requirement and the personal behavior. So you should understand the distinguishing factors. It attracts moral turpitude. His continuance in the government depends on moral turpitude. Naturally, we should take action. This is number one. Secondly, let us say after joining, we come to know that he has suppressed certain information, or he has given some false information, or he has furnished certain incorrect information in the attestation form, and the fellow has not completed the probation. He is still temporary. What will he do? Most important thing, he should not be retained in service. It's clear. Now, how to dispose him off? That is the question. If he is temporary, I have already told you what will not amount to a penalty under Rule 5 of Temporary Service Rules. Give him a notice and send him out. Suppose if he is a confirmed employee, issue him a charge sheet, Rule 14, conduct the inquiry, and after proof, he should be removed or dismissed, not less. He should not be, the basic principle is he should not be retained in service, remember. So, he should be disposed of in this fashion. So, number one. Number two. Second point you should remember is all government servants, especially those holding position of responsibility, should be honest and impartial in discharge of their duties, and should not show any undue favor or ill will towards any official in the official dealings. So, you are holding a responsible position. You should not only be impartial and should not show undue favor, but it should appear to be, because image is more important than the reality. I may be a very bad person, I may be a money oriented person, but to the society, we should appear to be honest. See, what is your reputation? What is your character? Character is different from reputation. Reputation is what the world see you. Character is what God and angels see you. You should have a good character. Many people in the society are very reputed, but their character is weak. Many people have plenty of character, but no reputation. For instance, take Morarji Desai. He is a man of character, but he was not that reputational. So, reputation is what the world see you, whereas character is what the gods and angels see you. That is the difference between a reputation and the character. So, when you are holding a responsible post, you should not only be impartial, you should appear to be impartial, because an onlooker, an outsider see you, they should come to the conclusion this fellow is impartial. So, that is more important. And most importantly, if a person is not impartial or showing favors or disfavors to any particular group or particular community, then action, disciplinary action can be taken against a person. This is second Government of India decision. Now, secondly, now a person is officiating in a higher post on ad hoc basis. Now, disciplinary proceeding has been initiated against him. Kindly follow closely. A government servant is officiating in a higher post on ad hoc basis, underline ad hoc basis. While he is officiating in the higher post, disciplinary proceedings have been initiated against him. Now, the question is whether the official appointed to a higher post on ad hoc basis should be allowed to continue in the ad hoc appointment, or he should be reverted. That is the question. Here you should see 2 points. If the appointment is purely on ad hoc basis, number 1, against a short-term vacancy, number 2, or leave vacancy, number 3, are appointed until further orders, number 4, and, underline, and, has held the appointment for less than 1 year. 5 circumstances I told you. And the appointment is held less than 1 year, most important. He should be reverted to the post held by him on regular basis or substantive post the moment disciplinary proceeding is initiated. So, understand, if the appointment has been held by him less than 1 year, if it is a leave vacancy, short-term vacancy, appointed until further orders, if these conditions fulfilled, then the moment disciplinary proceeding is initiated, he should be reverted to the parent post. So, it should be clear to you. On the other hand, if the appointment was required to be made, on ad hoc basis for administrative reasons, underline, for administrative reasons, that is, other than short term or leave vacancy, and the appointment was held by the government servant for a period more than 1 year, then he need not be reverted. Even though disciplinary proceeding has been initiated against him, he need not be reverted. Again I repeat, a government servant officiating on ad hoc basis on a higher post. In the meanwhile, disciplinary proceeding has been initiated. Now the question is whether he should be allowed to continue or not. First category, I have already told you. Second category, if the ad hoc arrangement was made as a result of the administrative requirement and it is not a leave vacancy and it is not a short-term vacancy, and if he has held the post for more than 1 year, in these circumstances, the ad hoc appointment need not be terminated. So, this is the Government of India decision number 3. Next is, what is the difference between censure and warning? Please think coolly. Censure, I have told you what are the penalties. Censure, withholding of promotion, recovery from pay of the whole or part of any peculiar cost to the government by the breach of orders, negligence of the government servant, withholding of increments of pay, reduction to a lower stage, one stage for not exceeding 3 years without affecting the pension benefit, without cumulative effect, etc. These are all the minor. And major also, reduction in stages, reduction in rank, compulsory retirement, removal from service, dismissal from service, all the penalties I have explained to you. Now first is censure. Now what is the difference between censure and warning? This is the question. You know, censure is a formal punishment. It is a formal punishment. Formal written reprimand. Before issue of censure, you should follow the procedure prescribed. What is the procedure prescribed? Rule 16. And you are giving him an opportunity of reasonable opportunity of getting his explanation. Number 3. And it is a statutory penalty. Number 4. He has a outlet of appeal, revision and review. So, all these facilities are there. And in addition, a censure will have an impact on his promotion. On deciding the merit of the person for promotion, censure will have an impact. And this will have an impact in writing the ACR. His ACR will be impacted. This is censure. On the other hand, warning can be oral or warning can be written. In either case, there is no need for the government or the authority to give him a show cause notice. Number 1, no formal procedure. Number 2, it is not a statutory penalty. Number 3, there is no provision of appeal, revision and review. Number 4, if you keep a copy of the warning in the ACR dossier, then it has to be taken into account. Number 4, it also implies if the head of office wants, he can ignore, he need not keep it in the ACR. Number 5, and of course, if there is a memorandum of services, if you make an entry in the memorandum of services, the reporting authority is free to take this into consideration while writing the ACR. So, this is 1. So, the difference between censure and warning, you should know, one is statutory and the other is non-statutory. Now, next point you should remember is, when you contemplate, when you initiate the disciplinary proceedings, charge sheet has been issued. If it is Rule 16, charge sheet issued is a written statement of defense obtained. and after you consider the written statement of defense, you are imposing any other penalties given under minor. Now, or suppose if you have given him the Rule 14 charge sheet, major penalty charge sheet, you conduct the inquiry and the record of inquiry, what is the standard charge sheet you are given, statement of impotent misconduct, misbehavior, and list of admission, list of confessions, of the charges based on which the charges are proposed to be sustained, and the record of inquiry, oral evidences, all these things will be taken into consideration and impose the penalty. Now, after you have initiated the disciplinary proceeding, remember, there are only two options with you. Either, if you are fully satisfied with the explanation given by the official, you can drop the charges by issue of a proceeding. You should issue the proceeding, not that keep quiet. No. If you are satisfied with the explanation given by the government servant in the shape of written statement of defense in respect of a Rule 16 charge sheet, or after a record of inquiry, after having gone through the record of inquiry and oral evidences, oral witnesses, all these things, if you are convinced that the fellow is not accused of misconduct, then in that case, you can issue the proceedings exonerating, letting him off without any penalty, because you are exonerating him. No penalty need to be imposed. But if you want to impose a penalty, at least censure should be imposed. Not that he has been transferred to Dehradun, or he has been transferred to Jammu and Kashmir, or he has been transferred to non-sensitive record and issue section. No, that is not the penalty. If you impose him, if you issue him the charge sheet, the minimum penalty of censure should be issued to him. Mere warning, he has been warned, he has been cautioned, he has been severely warned. No, nothing doing. If you are satisfied, exonerate him, issue the proceedings, dropping the charges. If you are not satisfied, imposing him any of the penalties. Need not be dismissal, need not be reduction in rank, need not be reduction in stage, need not be withholding of increment, need not be recovery from pay of the whole or part of any pecuniary loss. At least censure should be issued on the government servant on whom you have issued the charge sheet, or gracefully drop the charges, issue the proceedings. It is up to you. For your faith's sake, for your sake, don't say that he has been severely warned, he has been cautioned, he has been advised, he has been transferred to lay. No, that is not the transfer is not a penalty. Transfer is not a penalty. Transfer to a non-sensitive post, unremunerative post is not a penalty. So, this is another Government of India decision. Secondly, now, refusal of promotion. Suppose Mr. A, he has been promoted, he was SO. He was SO, fortunately working in his own native place, and he has been promoted. There are many people who do not want to move away from the place of their choice, already working. They have forsaken their promotion. Many people are there, because transfer itself, technically it is a penalty. Suppose you are working in Chennai, in your own native place. If you are transferred in Patna, but what is your increment? 3% increment, maximum 2,000 rupees. And Patna, you have to maintain 2 establishments, especially in a person working in the bank, instead of being a Chennai fellow. And if he is posted to Patna, it is not a promotion, it is a penalty for most of the people. So many people are tempted to refuse promotion. Now the question is, if the person refuses promotion, then whether the promotion can be enforced? Yes, it can be enforced. If the reasons attributed for refusal of promotion is not your satisfaction, the promotion can be enforced. Suppose even then he says, no, I won't go. Disciplinary action can be taken. Most important. disciplinary action can be taken. Read the rule 11. Following penalties may for good and sufficient reasons be imposed. I have already told you. Good and sufficient reason. So which is good and which is sufficient is to the person who is competent to impose the penalty. So it depends upon the subjective satisfaction. I told you on the first class, when you take up the penalties, I told you. Subjective decision. That is why there is a appeal, there is a provision for what is called revision, Article 226, Central Administrative Tribunal, Article 226 and Article 32. All these outlets are given because it is a subjective decision. What is according to you a injustice, according to me, it is not so much serious. Chodo. So, this is the refusal of promotion. So, if a person refuses promotion, promotion can be enforced, number one. If he still insists, you can take disciplinary action against the person because refusal of promotion is a good and sufficient reason for imposing any other penalties. We will stop here. We will continue in the next class. Thank you very much. Thank you.